We're back. I almost forgot to turn on my microphone. So many things to unpack today, like graphics. I'm sitting down, so I'm going to press this button. We're going to try things a little different, make the modernize the look. Yeah, I decided to sit down today. Normally I'm standing up. Now I need to sit. What's going on here? Oh, interesting. We got a delay happening here. Hang on. That's weird. Today I'm getting, I see where it is. There's an off button for that. Done. Fixed. I hear electrical interference. Isn't that weird? Wonder where that's coming from. All these things and more on today's Ask a Traffic Cop. Hey, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day, and today will be no different. We're going to talk about things that matter to you. We're going to answer your traffic and police questions for about an hour. Yeah. Let me try hitting this button and switching something back. Oh. I don't know where that buzz is coming from. Whatever it is, it's terrible sounding. That's for certain. I might be the only one who hears it, but I don't like it. Couple of things. One, if you're watching, we're on a whole bunch of different platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on, of course, TikTok, because I'm the TikTok traffic cop. We're on Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and, of course, X, all of whom wear things. Yeah, you can talk to us on all those platforms. Even on the Instagram, which is working now, but we don't see your messages as easily. I got to sort of look over there, and it makes life a little more difficult. Also, if you don't have time to watch or you want to bring these with you, you want to listen while you drive, you can get us on Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, and Spotify. Basically, we're on Anchor, and Anchor shares these with all the other platforms. What is that sound? Come on. Okay, every time I speak, I hear a little bit of buzzing. Let me try something. Oh, it's even worse on this one. What's going on? Ugh. Maybe I have to stand up. Maybe because I lowered the desk. Anyway, enough of this talk. Let's talk about stuff and things. We got the good old fashioned what are people talking about this morning question, which is, if I scroll in here, we see it's greetings and salutations. Yes, good morning. Akela, dad joke. Get dad joke flagged for later. Yogi Berra quote for later. We've got Northern Pike who says, hello, everyone. I don't know how to, Yafet says hi. Hello. Paul, good morning, all, and good morning to you, too. Then we've got sound is clear here. So maybe it's a headphone thing. Maybe the interference is entirely on my end. Brandon is still in Florida. Let's have an amazing day. You all rock. Well, you are absolutely correct, Brandon. Everyone here is awesome. Jordan says, good morning, Sean. LJ says, no delay or buzz on YouTube, which is good. Brando's back. Says, good morning, Sean. I got no jokes this morning. How are you this morning? I'm doing well. I got no complaints. I'm not here tomorrow. I'm taking the day off. It's March break. I'm going to spend some time with the kids. So I'm going to use some of that time off and stay home. So no show tomorrow. And for some reason, Brando, you made me think of that. Tian says, good morning, everyone. And Kevin says, starts with a question. Right into it. No hello, just right into the question. We'll get to your question in just a moment, but thank you for that. Tim Shallow says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you, too. Josh, Josh is noticing the feedback issues on your end. Whenever you speak, the slight buzzing, overlapping. I don't know what that is. So you know what we can do? We can do this thing where I stand up, and I'll move up with my desk that goes up and down, and we'll see if I can't if it doesn't solve it, and it might be it solves it, totally solves it. I guess I got to switch which version of the graphics I use now, because I made graphics that are above my head, and now where I could get lower. Anyway, I entertain myself and possibly nobody else when I do silly things like that. Let me switch things around, but I don't notice the buzzing anymore. So apparently it's all about that. Yes, I figured we needed a new look. I did this a while back, and then I never actually uploaded it. But here we are, where I have uploaded it. I still hear a tiny bit. And let's see about the other mic. Oh, totally different. It's not, I'm not feeling. There must be some wire on the ground touching my microphone wires. That's it. By the way, if anyone was at all interested in the question of which microphone is which one sounds better, this is the microphone that I've been using. This is the Shure SM7B. This is the microphone I've been using for a number of years now. And of course, if I switch over to this one, this is the Electro Voice and the RE20. I think I like it. There was about 50-50 votes. I did a TikTok asking people to vote, and on TikTok, let's get the up to the minute results here. A/B testing is the video, and hang on a second. I know that I can see the results. I just need to wait until the survey comes up, and I can test the button. Come on. Here we go. All right. See vote results. It is 265 to 212. So 56 in favor of this microphone over the other one. We'll revisit this later. But yeah, this microphone is the one we used yesterday, and it's the one I guess I'll stick with until the Sarge comes in. And it's got less noise right now. And it's got to be just placement of the wire. Anyway, let's get back into stuff and things that you care about. And that usually involves questions from you. This is a show on the internet all about you, because it's answering your traffic and police questions to make you safer and make better decisions on the road. That's why we're here. It's all about you. All right. We got, where did we leave off? We got Kevin's question, and we started talking about microphones, and then Albanian and Proud on TikTok wants to know about smoking cigarettes while you drive. No front plate. We've got a statement. It's not a question, it's a statement. I have no front plate, but never got pulled one. I assume you didn't get a ticket for it. You haven't been pulled over for it. And that is just a matter of time. If you are in Ontario and you're running one plate, you very well might be getting a ticket real soon, because you're lucky or you're due. I'm gonna aim towards you're due for a ticket. $110. Okay. I called Kevin out for going to the question without a good morning, and he followed up with a good morning. Good morning. Let's see here. We got Concy wants to know how I'm doing. I'm doing great. It is Tuesday, and I'm not coming in Wednesday, which means this is like Friday Junior. Yeah. Okay. And Josh acknowledges that the buzzing is gone, which is awesome. Let's see here. This is a really great question, and I'm getting into questions before I said I would, but is traffic law different in Ontario than across Canada, or is it mostly consistent? You know what? The vast majority of driving rules are, in fact, I can leave that on the screen, are in fact the same in terms of the basics of how to drive safely, because we allow people to drive across Canada, and our licenses are accepted throughout the majority of the world. And that's because most common sense driving rules are the same. Regulations when it comes to, yes, some equipment differences, possibly local rules, they differ province to province and obviously country to country and state to state. But yeah, for the basic stuff is going to be the same. Laws can change, and we try and, the basics are when we talk about things, we're really speaking to Ontario law. When we talk about criminality, when we're talking about imperative driving, that's Canada-wide, because our criminal code is the Criminal Code of Canada, whereas the Highway Traffic Act is the Ontario Highway Traffic Act. But if you've got questions outside of Ontario, then we can talk about that. All right. Toronto Maple Leaf fan says, hi. And I say, hello back. Let's get into where the Vision Zero enforcement team is, because we really, I don't want to forget. And I have been known to completely forget to talk about Vision Zero enforcement. Now, the Vision Zero concept is that we understand that minor collisions are going to happen. And this is part of the deal. You have a lot of cars trying to get to the same place on the same roads, and people interacting with one another, and they're not autonomous with, the billions of sensors, just these eyes and ears and whatnot. So minor collisions will happen. The ones that lead to serious injury and death, well, they're preventable, all of them, and they're unacceptable. When I say they're preventable, it's because of driver behavior that they're occurring. Somebody is making a boo-boo. They're making a mistake. It's not happening by accident. We don't call them accidents. that suggests some divinity is responsible for it. No, they're responsible because they did something wrong. They were going too fast. They were distracted. Something was at play, which is why the Vision Zero enforcement team spends time to change driver behavior, one ticket at a time, in fact. They are out there looking for those who choose to speed, who choose to drive aggressively, who choose to drive distracted, and of course, finally, those who choose to drive impaired. They're all choices. And if you choose to drive properly, you will likely not be involved in those collisions that occur. Now, things happen, but they don't happen the way that they have been happening with people who follow the rules. So when I talk about not speeding and not breaking other laws, it's because I want you to be safe, and I don't want you to hurt yourself or anybody else. And where are they today? Where are the Vision Zero enforcement team, those officers dedicated to making the road safe? Yeah, they are focused on Vision Zero TO in 32 Division and 33 Division. Those are neighborhoods like Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst Manor, Parkwoods, Donalda, Bayview Village, York Mills, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. And you'd want to know where we are every day if you were living in those neighborhoods in Toronto. So you can find out. You find out by going to Traffic Services on Twitter, which is X, by going to Traffic Services Toronto on Instagram, or going to our Facebook page. You can go to TrafficCop.ca and see all of those links and follow them so you get notified. Yeah. People say, why do we tell the folks who are out there breaking the law where we are? Well, because they're probably not paying attention because they're lawbreakers. I don't know. Listen, I'd love for them to slow down everywhere. Maybe this is the way to do it. Okay. Witty Toffee says, hi, Sean. Love your content. Witty Toffee, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're finding value. And yeah, we're here for you. And let's see here. The other mic, Jordan says it's the other mic that makes the noise. Hang on one second. I see what's going on. It's touching a power cable. That's what it is. Because if I switch back to this one, I'm not really hearing the noise anymore. Now that I made the switch back to the Shure SM7B, do you prefer the other sound, or do you like this one? We'll talk on this one for a few minutes and see if there's any. But the buzz seems to be gone. I've wiggled the wire, and that fixes everything. That's tech support 101, by the way. Wiggle the wire, reboot and or wiggle the wire. Hi, what's the traffic? It's like the traffic on the road. It's a good question. I have no windows in this office, so I don't know. Nick says, morning, Sean. What do cows drink? Wants to know, or states that they are waiting for the day when cops will do something about cyclists hitting my car, kicking my car. Well, hopefully they don't do that anymore. I mean, not because we've done something, just because, why are they doing that? That's obviously not acceptable behavior. If you can identify them, then report them. If we see something like that, we would deal with it. Sadly, bikes don't have license plates. It's hard to identify and catch them after the fact if they're just unknown. Hey, Sergeant Campbell's joining us, which means we're going to have two mics going. We had a weird buzz earlier, a buzzing. It's gone.
Because you have two mics.
No. I was testing AB back and forth. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
You got to turn it on. And so what do cows drink is the username on TikTok, who wants to know or is waiting for the day that cops will do something about cyclists hitting and kicking their car. Which begs the question of why are they doing that?
Well, drivers have to be at minimum 1 meter away from cyclists when they're operating on the roadway. So
well, when you're passing them, yeah.
When you're passing them, so.
But sometimes the cyclists decide that they're going to go through that tiny little space that isn't 1 meter, but the car was there first. That doesn't have to leave them a meter.
Very true, yeah.
And then they kick and punch and do things and yell and scream, because some cyclists are, I was going to say different. I was going to say something else, but I'm going to edit myself and say different.
Yep. It would be a criminal charge of mischief if they damage your car while kicking it. So absolutely. Give us a call.
Question of what's your current rank? My current rank is police constable first class. I don't usually say first class, but we have 4 classes. When you start out after graduating from the police college, or 4th class, 3rd class, 2nd class, finally you become first class, and most people stay there unless they apply to become sergeants in. Sergeant Campbell is a sergeant. Even if you weren't asking about him, just saying. He wasn't there when you asked the question. I had some questions that I skipped over earlier, so I'm sliding back. Boom, boom, boom. Is it illegal? Oh, sorry, is it legal to accelerate as fast as possible up to the speed limit? We've had this question before. I say it depends.
Yes, if you're doing it as part of a race, a bet, a wager, if you're racing the guy next to you, it could be stunt driving.
What if you're racing the clock?
Racing the clock. Technically, there's absolutely nothing wrong as long as you don't lose traction with the roadway.
And my scenario is always, if you're scaring people, if people are jumping out of the way, if it's causing issues, I think that would change the scenario enough that you're making a marked departure from the other traffic. You're potentially qualifying for stunt driving, careless driving. If there's pedestrians in the way and they're diving out of the way to save themselves, these are all dangerous scenarios.
Right, but if pedestrians are in the way and they're diving out of the way, there's more going on than just
for sure
accelerating. So
if it's pure acceleration, 0 to 60, I probably wouldn't have too much to talk about unless there were those other factors.
Yeah, no, there's no limit on how quickly you get there as long as it's done safely.
Albanian and Proud wants to know if you can smoke normal cigarettes and drive. I smoked 100 years ago and did smoke and drive, and there's no law preventing it as long as there's nothing in the cigarette, like that it's not a funny cigarette, it's not a joint, it's not drugs, and it's not interfering with your ability to drive.
What about if you have children in the car or if it's a workplace?
Yes.
If it's a work car.
So if it is a situation where you have someone under the age of 16, under the Smoke-Free Ontario Act, that would be a violation. If you were driving a work vehicle, like a police car, for instance.
Yep, not allowed at all.
Not allowed. There's, again, Smoke-Free Ontario Act. And I don't understand how, I don't understand how I ever smoked cigarettes. I think they're gross. How did you smoke cigarettes? Because they were gross then, too.
Yes, they were. I just stopped one day.
Me too.
You know what? I had kids and decided I wanted to be around for them, so I stopped.
Mine was motivation right here to become a police officer. I went to speak to an officer who had returned to 52 Division after doing a stint in the employment office, and I went there and we had a chat, and I said, what do I need to do to be a police officer? He says, you need to quit smoking. So I crushed my pack and I threw it out. That was the last cigarette.
Nice.
It was real simple, and because I had a goal motivated, goal oriented.
I had a goal too, to be alive.
To be alive. I like that goal. It's a good goal. That's why I'm eating better. I'm going to reduce my is it a carbon footprint? Just a footprint. I want to be less heavy. Yeah. Alex May says, morning, have a great day, everyone. Morning to you too. Thank you for the good wishes. Running reds, no stopping at stop signs. Nothing is done in Toronto. Nada. This is follow-up about cyclists who are doing what they want without any kind of impact. Sadly, you're not seeing when it is done, because I was notoriously an enforcer of all rules. I don't know why. I'm like this traffic cop who likes rules and order. So I don't care if you're driving a car, you're riding a bicycle, you're rollerblading. If you're breaking rules, I'm going to hold you accountable for them. And there are many, many police officers who are just like me who enforce those rules. Sadly, not all of them. I have to close this app because it's driving me crazy. Not all of them are on the road when you're on the road. So we can't catch everybody all the time.
But we're doing our best,
Yes.
especially about red lights and stop signs, because that's what hurts and kills people.
Yes, we're talking about
Big
that.
Four.
Big Four is a big deal. It's a big deal. We want people to be safe. Let's see here. Can you talk about how dangerous driving too close? What do you mean?
Can you talk about how dangerous driving too close is?
I'm not following. I'm not picking up what you're putting down, Witty Toffee. Like dangerous driving is a criminal charge. It is obviously, if you're driving close to somebody, that's dangerous. But does it qualify for dangerous driving? I don't know. Maybe tell me more. Maybe you can rephrase.
I'm reading it as how dangerous driving too close is.
To what?
To
Anyone?
anything. Well, if you drive too close to a tree, it could be dangerous.
Yes.
If you drive too close to the car in front of you, it could be dangerous.
And driving too close to another vehicle, although it may not qualify for dangerous driving, the criminal charge could be stunt driving. There is a section dealing with close proximity to persons or things. So there's lots of ways to get the...
There's also a Highway Traffic Act charge of follow too close.
This is true. Yeah, riding the bumper or being following too close truly is too close.
Yeah.
Here's a question I don't. Well, okay. So let's start with allow. Is it alus? Alus? How do you pronounce that?
Don't know.
We're not going to guess. Or I'm going to stop guessing and we'll move on to what you actually wrote. What's the next step in the recruitment process after the prep test? If you passed all the physical stuff and you've applied already to get to the prep test, because the order of operations has changed a little bit. I had to have my prep test prior to applying. I had to have my certificate. I think that's now done internally.
I believe so too.
Which means once you've passed that, I'm guessing you're going to the interview stage. I'm assuming, but I don't know.
I bet you if you were to ask a recruitment officer, even by email,
They could tell you.
they would tell you.
Now,
They'd know better than us.
I know it, absolutely, because things again have changed since we joined. So first off, you can get to the employment unit's webpage by going to www.tps.ca/careers, and that will take you to this magical place on the internet. Looks a lot like this. Can I switch it to this one now? I can switch it to this one now. Hey, look at that. We're moving up in the world, or down to the bottom right corner in the world. So this website gives you all the information you need, but there may still be more. Start by reading this page for police constable. It'll give you a lot of information. The answers that you're looking for might already be here, and if they're not, then follow up with a recruiter. Don't ask questions that can be found easily online, because it makes you look bad sometimes. Okay, tps.ca/careers. That's how you get to this page. And if you're not looking for necessarily police constable, know that there's some other options. You can also get hired as a special constable, a parking enforcement officer, communications operator. We've got some volunteer opportunities, but I love looking into the civilian roles to see what's currently available. Let's see what they have. And whoa, we have 5 jobs.
Wow.
Clerk in court services, leave and absence coordinator, crime analyst in a squad or a district or a unit, communications operator, and digital team developer. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. And maybe one of these is perfect for you. Not necessarily you who asked the question, but you being somebody who's watching. So if you're interested in a position within a magical organization like ours, check it out. It's a good place. It's not just a good place. It's a great place to work.
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah, sometimes you get to work with good people.
Sometimes
not so good. What's the acceptance rate? That is something I couldn't tell you. I don't know the percentage of acceptance. I know that they hired us.
So it must be pretty easy.
Your odds are good. But all things being equal, police services across the country, if not the planet, are looking for good applicants. And you could be that person. So apply and find out what your acceptance rate is. You'll never know till you try. And just because somebody else gets hired doesn't mean you are the one. And just because someone doesn't make it doesn't mean you won't be. Because there were plenty of people turned down when we were being hired, and they still allowed us through the door. Are blue license plate lights illegal? See, I was going to jump right to the blue license plate, the Kleenex box ones, but that's not what they're talking about. It's the light above it.
Yes.
Yes, they are illegal.
You could get a charge for confused identity of plates.
Ooh.
The color of your plate actually means something in Ontario. We have yellow plates, yellow background, we have white background, we have blue letters, we have black letters, we have red letters. Anytime you change that in any way and make it appear something different, you could face a charge for it.
And there's also a charge just for having anything other than white, because it's a regulatory requirement of a 3 candela light that is white. Must be white.
Must be light white?
Light white.
White light?
Can't be dark white.
No?
Yeah, it can't be too it can't be anything other than white, and it can't be projecting rearward. It's not supposed to have a super bright light. It's just to illuminate the plate. So there you go. I used to pull people over left, right, and center for that. I'd like to think that someone who has a blue, red, green, any kind of color light on there is asking me to say hello. I used to take that invitation seriously.
That could be true. That could be true.
Josh, thank you for reminding everybody. If you're going to be asking questions, please put the letter Q in advance of it so I know that it's actually a question and not simply banter amongst yourselves. Okay, Mama of 6 Little Devils. Great username, by the way. I'm a G2 driver. Wonder, do you have to slow down or pull over and stop for a volunteer?
Next question down. Keep going. Right there.
Oh, volunteer firefighter, green light. Thank you very much for noticing that. So I assume you're not in Toronto because we don't have that here. But in jurisdictions outside, volunteer firefighting is a real big thing. It makes it possible to fight fires on a lower when they don't have the budget for a full-time crew.
Or respond to emergencies, not just fires.
True. And it's not a legal requirement to pull over for that green flashing light. It is a courtesy light. It is something we would like you to do. We want to allow the fine folks who are volunteering their time to help others get to where they're going, to save the day in their own special way, to borrow from our friends on Paw Patrol. But it's not a legal requirement. So you can't get a ticket if you don't move over. We'll just all think you're a horrible person.
Yes, the green light doesn't allow them to do anything extra than what you're doing. But it's just a courtesy to get out of the way because they may be racing to get their fire apparatus to go and maybe save your house.
Yeah. And by racing, we mean not going over the posted speed limit, because they're not actually allowed to speed or go through lights or anything. They're just getting through traffic.
Right.
And that's a good thing. Nayab Magazine wants to know, is the electric bike are legal to be on the road in Toronto? Is the electric bike are legal? So electric motorcycles are motorcycles that need to be licensed and insured and so on. They're motorcycles. If they are electric bikes that qualify under the legislation provided for e-bikes, well, then that's different. So they have to have a motor no greater than 500 watts, not modified to produce power beyond that. They cannot be capable of going more than 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface. They are not able to be more than 120 kilos in weight. They have to have functioning pedals. They have to be in good working order and so on and so forth. And if that all works out, they are legal for the road and treated as they are treated as a bicycle, even though they are motor vehicles with special privileges.
Well, they are still a motor vehicle. They just have an exemption for licensing, insurance, and plates.
Yeah, they get the same privileges of a bicycle. And even within that, every jurisdiction is going to be different, because City of Toronto says if it's a pedelec, one that requires pedaling that has no throttle, well, then it can go anywhere a bicycle can go. But if it's one that looks like a motorcycle, and there are many that look like motorcycles, well, then it can only go on the road and a bicycle lane. But if it has somewhere in between, then it's allowed certain privileges. But here's the great thing. I have a great info page linked to TrafficCop.ca. And TrafficCop.ca will take you to that if you go to the useful links at the bottom, to the City of Toronto descriptor, as well as a page from the provincial government that explains everything in great detail. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, we've got... We've got Alex who said, a lot of conversation. Oh, do you have a canine? Do I have a canine? I do not have a canine. We have a canine unit, but I do not personally have a canine, other than my teeth.
Right. I was about to say.
So then we have two. Let's see here.
So, yes, we do. There's a whole unit staffed with members and dogs. They do fantastic work.
Truly. Different specialty dogs. I've met some of the dogs. They are cute dogs. We don't touch the dogs. They're trained and special. Some of them actually, well, you can pet. But yeah, a very, very cool unit that I want nothing to do with, other than to call them when they need to do stuff for us.
Yep, I agree.
I don't want to run after the dog and clean up after the dog. What are your thoughts on zero fault insurance? What are the benefits and disadvantages? Zero fault, I mean, no fault insurance? I think no fault insurance is what you're talking about.
Right.
Because I think no fault insurance kind of means everybody's at fault.
Yeah, everybody pays their own way and everybody's insurance goes up.
Well, there is a subrogation. Subrogation is when two insurance...
I got to take this?
Okay, it's your thing. Possibly the best ringtone ever. I love it. Okay, subrogation is when someone subrogates, is when the two insurance companies bargain behind closed doors to figure out who's taking and reimbursing the other one, but everyone gets covered. I don't know which one's better. Is it better here than somewhere else? I think we pay way too much in insurance, but I'm also very thankful that insurance is there, because if it were not for insurance, well, bad things kind of happen. I was in a big collision and insurance was there to help me out, and I appreciate them. Let's see here. I got a ticket for 109 in an 80, but my truck is governed at 105. Is it worth fighting? Just because you got a ticket for 109, doesn't mean that you were doing 109. The governor is based on the speed of your speedometer, which may be inaccurate. So can you fight it? You're entitled to. Talk to them. It might be the defense you need, or maybe get some legal advice. but I could explain that away. You'd have to get that calibrated and checked to see if your speedometer at 105 is actually 105. And maybe it is or maybe it isn't. Okay. 2 right lanes to turn right, but it's a red light. Does the car left of me allowed to make a right turn? Yes. 2 right turn lanes means both lanes can make a right turn on red, assuming there's no sign prohibiting it, and both are turning into the appropriate lanes. Curb lane to curb lane, the one to the left would go into the one to the left of the curb lane after it completes its turn. Otherwise, it would be eligible for a ticket for improper turn. Let's see here. Moving along, I'm seeing a lot of duplication. Please don't spam, because spam is only for sandwiches. I don't even actually know. I've never eaten spam. This is simply a prop thanks to Kayla Jaconis, who provided it to me at not the last year. Was it last year or the year before? A Honda Indy. He came to Honda Indy with spam for me, so I could talk about no spam in the chat. Thanks to Akela. Okay. Someone says, cops don't do anything. We're doing something right now. If we were doing nothing, we wouldn't be here. Let's see here. Can a person without a police background apply to the RCMP? Yes, that's how we start people in police. Now, do you mean background check, or do you mean background like you have no training? We train people to be police officers. We don't expect people to be police officers before they become police officers. In fact, if you have a background that is completely unrelated to policing, I think you bring a real-world experience and skills outside of policing to policing, making us better. So if you were an accountant, I think you'd be a perfect fit for financial crime investigations. Just saying. Okay. Okay. Some duplication here. If I have an electric motorcycle, how do I register it? If you have an electric motorcycle, it's made by Harley Davidson. It's got a VIN. You take it to the registration, or it's not just Harley Davidson. There's a number of street legal electric motorcycles. You take it to the location at the Ministry of Transportation or the Ontario Service Center. And you register it just like you register your car or any other motorcycle. It's not a special privilege. Now, if you have an e-bike that happens to be modified to go faster than what is legal, it's a motorcycle, but it's not legal for the road. It's off-road only. Okay. Rambunctious Paul says, you've definitely got a career in radio ahead of you. When I retire, maybe. That sounds like a great play. We'll see what happens. Never know. Got a long way to go before then, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. What do we have here? We have is that laughing, crying, some combination of both? That's good. S-Lamb. I assume it's lamb, or is it slamb? Anyway, so our tax dollars pay for this. Wow. Yes, your tax dollars pay for education provided to the community through social media. We provide this on a regular basis because it is the most effective and cost-effective. Not just effective because we're here and we're good and we're getting all the communication in, but we're actually doing it in a cost-effective way. You would never have this kind of access, nor to both to information or to a police officer in general, if you were knocking on the front door of a police station to get your answers or calling in, because you're going to talk to whomever answers the phone. You're going to hopefully get someone who knows the answers to your questions. Then you're going to get maybe a call back when they find the answers to your question. Maybe you'd be meeting us at a barbecue or a community event. Maybe you'd have the answer to your, you see where I'm going with this? We do a lot of different things. And this is an incredibly cost-effective way of doing it. But anyway, I love that people think it's negative because they say, well, we're playing on the internet. No, we're working on the internet. Anyway, does Ontario have a driver's training program for new drivers, and would you recommend it? So, Brando, we have the graduated licensing program, which is not an education program. It's a testing program, which requires drivers to go through different levels or hoops in order to be qualified. I still think they could improve it to make it harder because we have our standards in general, I think, are too low. You may not, people who are in the program may not agree, but look at Europe. They are producing better drivers. Now, there are incentives to taking professional training. Like if you're a G1 driver, you have to wait 12 months before you're eligible to take your G2. But if you take your professional driver training through an actual approved course, then you are able to take your G2 test, I should say, after only 8 months. So there's an acceleration. You're also given a discount with your insurance provider for taking professional driving instruction, and it gives you the equivalent of a year's experience, which is really good. Any savings when it comes to bills like that is a good savings. All right. We're going to move on. Oh. In response to the username, what do cows drink? Josh has the answer. Cows drink cow milk. For those who are wondering, he has raised a few calves himself. Okay. I love it. That you know, it didn't even dawn on me to answer the question. Okay. We've got what's a cop's salary? Well, depends on what stage you're in. And I know we talked about employment, but we'll jump back there for a second and answer the question. And instead of telling you what I believe it to be, I will show you exactly what it is. It's posted on the website, www.tps.ca/careers. And salary and benefits. Cadet in training gets $68,864. When you graduate and become a police constable, you get your badge and your gun, and you're off to save the world. Fourth class constable, $76,533. That's per year, per annum. It's divided into hourly wage when you're actually working overtime, but that's what you make. Third class constable, a year later, $87,476. Then second class constable, when you make your next bump, assuming you get qualified and you actually pass all the requirements and no one says you're a pain that doesn't deserve to be moving forward because you haven't picked up what we're putting down. Well, then you go to second class constable, $98,409, and finally first class constable, when you finish the training program, $109,338. Yes.
I'm back.
You are. I should turn the microphone back on for you.
I'm back, and I turned off my ringer.
I do enjoy that ringer.
My To Be Fair.
Is that what that is?
It is. That's from Letterkenny.
I have not watched Letterkenny.
It is. It's an interesting show.
I will have to check it out. Bashrat Ali, our friend from Pakistan, says, say no to reckless driving. Love from Pakistan. Bashrat Ali, Traffic Services in Punjab, Pakistan. Yes, and hope things are doing well over there. And yes, say no to reckless driving. Reckless driving, bad.
Yes, I agree.
And Akela says, hi, Sarge.
Apparently, it is everywhere.
It is a problem. Driving is something that affects everybody in all places around the world. And I've had the good fortune of being able to travel through and as of you, all over the world. And it's amazing to see how different drivers drive. And how, in Italy, I saw they're very vocal. They're honking, they're communicating. Sometimes they're bumping into you, but amazingly, it's all acceptable.
Oh, all right.
Very, very tiny streets. But it was all around safe, I would say. Here, people smash into each other all the time, really bad. I watched some dash camera from a collision that occurred this morning, I think on the 400, where someone decided to go from lane 1 or 2 across 3 lanes of road. And unfortunately, they weren't factoring in that there was an 18-wheeler on its way that couldn't have possibly slowed down. So that was a big mess this morning. And there were some posts online that were quite amazing to watch. I'll have to forward it to you because someone forwarded it to me. Boom. We talked about this. I lost my place. Where did it go?
I'm coming in closer.
You should.
There we go.
What do we have here? We got some duplication. What about bikes riding in big packs? Is that legal?
Blocking roads, big packs.
There are some that like they're almost like bike gangs. They take up a full lane and keep going. Those are usually moving pretty quick. And the big problem that I have with them is not that they're consuming a lane. If they're moving with the speed of traffic at the appropriate speed, they're lawful to take that whole lane.
Absolutely.
The issue is when they don't stop for stop signs. That's where I have a problem.
Well, and if they're traveling at slower than the speed of traffic, they have to say to the right to allow traffic to pass. Any other than that, they would be out interfering with traffic, and they could be charged for it. Stop signs, red lights, riding on sidewalks. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in the city of Toronto that it's ultimately dangerous, neglectful.
And they're eligible for tickets.
They certainly are.
Someone said demilitarize the police. I didn't realize that we were militarized.
We're a
Paramilitary.
military, only by the way that
Organize.
our organizational chart is paramilitary. Everything else is kind of business-like.
Would you change your police branch if you could do it all over again? Like, would you work somewhere other than traffic services? I think this is the best place ever. I wanted to be here when I was an auxiliary. I came here as an auxiliary. When I left to be a police officer, I wanted to come back. So I absolutely chose this knowingly.
I'm a car guy. I'm a car, boat, snowmobile, marine unit would interest me. Investigating into certain aspects of cars is what I always wanted to do. So that's why I'm here.
What is this? Vela says Toronto police should be called the Toronto traffic ticket guys. You think? I don't know.
Did you get a ticket?
Well, we're not the ticket people. We do hold people accountable. I think you write your own ticket. We just fill it out for you. But effectively, you choosing to break the law is what we fill in the box. Like, you're doing it. We're just documenting it. Okay, we got. What about smoking in transport trucks? Is that legal? That's your workplace. But it could be your living quarters as well. It could be your own truck.
Yep, unless it's your own truck. But nobody else can be in it.
Yeah. It's one of those interesting interpretations. Is it your workplace? Yeah, you're working there. Is it your own workplace? Does that change anything? I don't know. Maybe when you're parked, it's legal, but when you're driving, it's not. It's a weird space I've never dealt with.
Yeah, never even thought of that. But I would say if it's your own truck and you're the only one there, I think you're good.
Interesting.
If you're driving with somebody else, it's still a workplace as long as they're employed. So you couldn't smoke in there with them.
Interesting. Akila says, never smoked, but the rest of my family did. Both of my parents died of lung cancer or had lung cancer. My apologies. I didn't mean to say died. I assumed. Leo from the United States. Hello, Jeremy. Jeremy Wilson says, hey, follow us. We'll follow you back. And everyone should follow us. We don't follow everybody back, but you should follow us because when we go live, you get notified. Oh, the untied states? I assume it was. I'm assuming that's a typo. But either way, even if it's the untied states, where's that? Okay, we're making fun. Let's see here. There is a queue. Yes. Folks that are duplicating or spamming, we are doing our best to keep up with the queue. And that is where questions that are coming in at about 10:48. Actually, no. Let's scroll back. Apparently, there sometimes things actually get out of the buffer. We can't go far enough back anymore. But here's one of the Sarge's favorite discussion topics. Are tinted headlights and taillights illegal?
Yes, both. Your rear taillights have to be clearly discernible. And if you put a covering over top of them, they're obviously not clearly discernible. Car manufacturers make them to probably the lowest possible limit that they can make them just for cost efficiency. So anything you do to make them not as effective would be illegal. Your front headlights, same thing.
In fact, there's a very specific law for front headlights.
Yes.
You can't cover them. You can't tint them. You can't put covers on them. Nothing.
And seriously, why would you want to do either? One of them's not going to help you drive. The other one is not going to help the people behind you drive. And you could end up in a collision.
And then we call that clues.
So when we go and we investigate and we take notes about your vehicle, its condition, that may be included in your police report, which your insurance company will get and say, maybe you've modified your vehicle enough that we don't want to cover you anymore.
We call it a clue.
Yes.
I'm looking for Vel. Vel Mano is really upset that we are here. So I'll help them out by muting them so they can't bother everybody else. But they want us to stop wasting taxpayer money by being here. They think that this is an absolute waste of money.
All right. What's Vel Mano doing right now other than complaining?
Wasting time.
Well.
And costing us money. Let's see here. We've got, anyway, they're muted. They can't talk to us for 5 minutes. And it's just a penalty box. Let's see. What happens if someone drives another person to the hospital without a license? That's what I think you're saying. They're driving without a license. That's not good.
Yep. Could get stopped. Could get charged.
If you got into a collision, you have no coverage.
Yeah. Yep. And we have ambulances. and they do that, and they're licensed.
Yes, and I know in the United States, this becomes we have such a large audience in the United States, and they say, well, it's like $5,000 to get to the hospital. Here, it's $50. So I can understand why people take risks, but it's not good risks. At the end of the day, you're going to the hospital to have someone help you, and if you don't get there, because we buy into this whole concept of guaranteed arrival, if you never get there because you're an inexperienced driver or you cause a collision because of that, that's bad. Not helping anybody. Let's see what's we got here. I flagged a bunch of stuff. Do you know which city has the most traffic infractions in Ontario? I don't know. I would assume we do, but
For population?
Oh, that's a different. It depends on what the stats are. Obviously, you'd have to do some math. You have to have all this. We don't track that kind of stuff. But it could be interesting.
Who writes the most tickets? Yeah. I'm going to say it's going to be pretty close between us and the OPP, just because we have the most amount of officers out there.
Now I want to look. Not this second, but I do want to look. When making a right turn onto a bus lane road, do you turn into the bus lane or merge into the lane next to it? Most of those are set up, and you'll see the painted lines on the road suggesting to avoid the bus lane and turn right into the proper lane. But if there's no designation, what do you do?
So the ones I'm thinking of are actually in Ajax, Ontario, that I've passed by, and they actually have for about 50 meters before and after an intersection, they have a dotted line in between the bus lane and the regular lane. So it allows you to go into the bus lane for 50 meters and then move out of it when safe to do so.
Yeah, you should be turning into a proper turn says you turn from the left or the rightmost lane to the rightmost lane. So you're curb to curb. But sometimes they put those markings to tell you exactly where they expect you to turn.
Right.
Because
so if it is marked as such, then you follow that.
There's an indicator. I do, however, see a lot of people who ignore those markings, especially on Yonge Street. Richmond Hill seems to be a big problem. Scarborough seems to be a big problem. And they drive into the different colored road area that is specifically bus only. And then I've seen people go into the opposing direction, like completely wrong. Mm-hmm. Or look at the Queen's Quay. Horrible what people do.
Well, yes, but that is a
confusing intersection.
You know what? It's confusing for us. And I've been up and down there. It really is. So we have TTC streetcar tracks that run, but they run on this side, then they run in the middle, then they run on this side, and then they go back, and then they go forward, and then they put a tunnel right in the middle of the road. And the streetcars go down through there. So, yep, I get it.
Indeed. What are the laws for lowering your car, modifying your exhaust? Modifying your exhaust is pretty simple. If you're creating noise or you're removing things that are required to be there, you're violating and then looking for tickets. And
that includes your muffler, your
resonator, yeah,
and your catalytic converter. Any emission things, your oxygen sensors, things like that, can't modify any of those to make it not functioning.
And if you do, you can get a ticket for that. If you're creating unnecessary noise, you get that. Now, in terms of lowering, the deal is that you can lower things safely and properly to a limit. There are standards in the light vehicle and light truck and passenger vehicle guide. Talks about how low your headlights can be to the ground, how high they can be. When we as police are looking for something like investigating to see if your stuff was lowered too low or unsafely, we're looking for contact with the tire, with frame or body. And if we see that, that's unsafe vehicle right away.
And your suspension must actually work. It
can't be rigid.
It must move. So if you're doing it the cheap way and getting
chopping your springs
or clamping them down so that they're not moving, then that wouldn't be done, and it could be an unsafe.
Yes, don't make it unsafe. I've seen some really stupid cars that are like trying to go up onto a driveway, and the 3 inches it's going up, 2 tires are now off the ground. Like just absolutely silly. I get things look cool, but those are trailer queens, not actually things to be driven on the road. Here we go again. Can you do something about Brampton? I don't know. Brampton gets a bad rap, and I have to explain that Toronto is not in Brampton, so we have nothing to do with policing that area. That's Peel Regional Police, but I don't know why they get such a bad rap. Is there such a problem in Brampton? Is it the big wide open roads?
I don't know.
I don't go to Brampton.
I do know that there's an awful lot of truck traffic in Brampton, probably because the airport's there. Don't know.
A trucking corridor. Let's see here. Spamming, lots of spam. Please don't spam. We have a can of spam, but don't spam in the chat. What is the law on underglow? Are you allowed to have it if it's a solid color but not red blue? This is that depends scenario that isn't specifically written into the law in any place that's easy to understand. You cannot violate rules with your headlights or taillights and projecting certain colors in certain directions. But at the end of the day, this is not stuff that you should be using when you're driving. The simplest answer is private property, at a show, in the parking lot, do what you want. On the road, don't distract from the ability for other drivers to see and drive safely, and don't project the wrong color in the wrong direction. So I've seen a lot of problems on the road with underglow that is improperly mounted, where lights are blinding to other drivers. That's a problem.
For me, if any of the light, if I can see it from the front of your vehicle, you're getting stopped. Any other color than amber or yellow and white should not be exposed to the front of your vehicle unless you're an emergency vehicle or a snowplow.
Now, it's easy to do that. You have white or yellow to the front, but what happens when I see white or yellow to the rear? Well, yellow is okay for the rear, but white to the rear is a problem. That's a ticket as well. So that's why I say it's not, there is no underglow charge, but if your underglow is causing issues with your headlighting or your taillights, that's because we can see the light, then that's a problem. I'm looking for where the blue box is here. I've lost the box. Okay, we'll take a random one. Has there ever been a case where the police report has been filed under a duplicate license plate? I'm sure that anything's possible, but I don't know the context of what you're saying.
A duplicate license plate, like the same license number from two different jurisdictions.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe somebody's taken their two license plates and split them up and put a report on another person's car. That's the only circumstances I can think of that you're.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let us know.
Yes. What is this? Taking off a bicycle? I don't know. Oh, Val is back. Val was in. I guess Val gets to go from being simply muted to being banned for being silly.
Who's Val?
Val is the person who thinks we're wasting tax dollars.
Oh.
To be fair, Letter Kennedy is a great show. Josh supports you. All right. Can I join any police service if I'm blind in one eye? So you need to talk to them, because I've heard of people who have been able to join a police service with a one eye because they were able to either challenge or make that argument. But generally speaking, the standards are binocular vision. I don't know how that would work.
I don't know either. That would be a question directly for the recruiters.
Yes. Weirdest encounter? Oh, there's so many weird stories, but those aren't stories that I can share. Lots of things that were weird and wonderful and not so wonderful. Yeah.
You get to see all aspects of
Life, real life.
civilization, I was going to say.
Were.
Sometimes not so civil.
No, I think I saw crazier stuff when I was a court officer than I have ever seen as a police officer.
Yeah.
We were both court officers when we started, so yeah, we see all sorts of things. Yeah. Let's see here. We got. Oh, I did say I was going to create a song. I actually tweeted about it and said I was going to create a song. And I took the liberty of typing in a instruction to the AI to create a song about distracted driving, and I have to hear it, and I'll share it with you. I'm going to make sure I put this on properly. There we go. So this is a song that I used Suno.ai to produce. This is where you type in a little a chat scenario and it creates everything. So this is called Drop It in Drive, and this is from typing in saying, make me a song about distracted driving.
Drop it and drive, leave your phone alone. Keep your focus on the road, make it go wrong. No need for fines, no need for suspension. Safety first is the best prevention.
That's not bad.
Not bad. It's not my genre once again.
No, but
that's actually pretty good.
I wonder if we could change it and say, make it country. Because it's easier to understand when you do country. It's
Do you
slower.
think country is my genre?
What's your genre?
I'm just asking.
How
you.
about is it like lounge singer vibes? Like, let's say country style, country pop. Let's try that. It'll redo it with the same prompts, but changes the style totally. And let's see if it does something cool. In the meantime,
Let's answer a question.
let's answer a question. Okay. I was driving yesterday on Highway 401 and the cops were going over 120 with no sirens on.
Yes.
Yes. And
We don't need our sirens on.
we don't need our lights on. In fact, it's safer very often to leave them off, which is exactly why that officer would have been doing it, whether they were going to a call or just patrolling looking for people who are on their cell phones. It is safer and more efficient to get through traffic without our lights and sirens, and it's not legally required except for one scenario.
Yep, and that one scenario is going through a red light where we have to stop first. Our lights are on and our siren is continuously blaring. I've seen some pretty dumb things when I had my lights and sirens on. People do some crazy, unexpected driving or not driving. They just stop,
Yeah.
like in the middle of the highway.
It could be not just dangerous, it could be
anything.
fatal. It could be BDD. Okay, ChatGPT has come up.
Cruising down the highway, feeling so free, but you reach for your phone, can't let it be. Texting calls can't wait, don't you see? Distracted driving ain't the way to be. Drive, leave your cell phone alone, till your pocket's not for driving, oh no. 3 days suspension, a hefty fine to pay. Keep your eyes on the road, don't let your focus stray.
That's not bad.
3-day suspension, though?
What's a 3-day suspension on conviction, and it's a 7-day on a subsequent one.
Right.
So this was just
So they've gone through and they've picked up the 3-day suspension from our laws and put it in there?
no. I gave it some basic stuff. I said it's a 3-day
okay.
suspension. It's a $615 fine. I didn't know. I didn't give it any. Just I gave it basics about it and said say it's not a good idea. It created 2 versions. Let's see what the other version is.
Driving down the highway, feeling so carefree. Got my tunes on, wind in my hair, life is ecstasy. But there's something that's gotta be said. Distracted driving can mess with your head. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. Don't let your phone steal the thrill. Drop it and drive, stay alive. Your safety's worth more than a text that can wait.
That's not bad either. Like it's really interesting considering this was a chat prompt, an AI prompt. It wrote the music, it wrote the lyrics, and it performed it. That's pretty amazing. It's AI is scary.
It is pretty good. What's more scary is watching you enjoy it so much.
Well, it's just cool.
You're like a kid on
I
Christmas.
showed a buddy of mine this yesterday, and he's a lawyer in the tax area. And I typed in a bunch of criteria, and I hit go, and it made him a jingle for his law firm. And he took his computer, he ran to his wife and said, "You got to see this." So he was just as energetic and excited about it as I was. So it's very cool. And Suno, I tagged them saying that I was going to use it to create a traffic safety song today, and they wrote back and said, "We're down. We're excited." So they're excited about it too. Oh, somebody says my ears hurt. It's not saying it's the best performance, but it's pretty amazing, all things considered. All right. Interesting. This is an interesting take. The problem with street racing is that there's nowhere in the GTA to enjoy the hobby. Well, street racing is on the street and it's illegal on the street. So yeah, but racing, there are tracks. Now, if you're really interested in racing, go get involved with a community that races. There's tracks you can pay, I think, $50 to get on to most tracks on their days that have open entry. You got to make sure your vehicle is safe, and but not much else to do. Like, they qualify you and you go.
And it's pretty good. It really is. Make sure your car is safe because they inspect everything. I couldn't do it one time because I had a repair in my tire. That was one of the criteria to make it safe, that they said couldn't be
No
on the track.
plugs. No plugs drivers and no plugs as
Right.
tires.
No plugs.
Is it illegal to warn people about radar traps? It's not illegal. I think it's immoral, personally.
So it's illegal if you're using your high beams to do such a thing?
Yeah, you can't use your high beams when you're within certain proximity of oncoming traffic. 160 meters? 160 meters oncoming. So that would be illegal. But at the end of the day, forget about the ticket we might give you. Think about the fact that that person may slow down temporarily, then accelerate away, and then hurt somebody. And they hurt that person specifically because you warned them and got them away with, didn't get them caught. That we would have stopped them. That person wouldn't have been in the scenario. I'm stretching it here, but that's my take on it. The idea of a ticket is to change behavior. You're preventing that behavior from being corrected.
And these are the people that are actually making the roads unsafe for you. Why would you want to warn them, let them get away with it when they're doing it to you? Because you're using the road.
For sure. Wisdom wants to know if you're on shift. Are we on shift? We are on shift. This is part of what we do as media relations officers and traffic safety educators. This is not the only thing we do, but this is right now an on-duty situation. And I'm often off-duty when I'm at home responding to questions too. It's kind of I used to be an auxiliary, I used to volunteer my time, and I very often am volunteering my time answering questions at home because I want to try and engage and answer the questions. There's not enough time in a day to truly answer everything on duty because we have many responsibilities. So I choose to do a lot of this off duty on my own time.
Yep, I do as well. And we discuss it sometimes. Sometimes these requests are good. Sometimes they're going a little bit too far outside of our realm of work.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what? We try and come here. Sean tries to do this every single day because this is a great forum to actually get out there and educate people as opposed to having to report on them later.
And that's the thing. I've spoken to so many people. We do events. We were at the auto show this year, and so many people came up and said, thank you for doing what you do. You helped me get my license. You made me a better driver. You've answered so many questions. I didn't realize this was that was the other. These are really good things that we're getting the feedback on. We've done a lot of, we've done a number of surveys and a lot of different ways of getting feedback from the community to see if they like what we're doing. And other than people who are saying, like Mr. Clean, who says, taxes at work, obviously not an approval comment, but that's okay. The vast majority, like we have 655,000 followers, the vast majority of people really appreciate what we're doing. So to the two who have a problem with us.
What he said.
Yeah. It is 11:04. Do we have a few more minutes or we got to go?
Yeah, no, I actually do have time today.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yesterday we had to run.
Yippee Kaye says, by the way, I love where your username's going. I'm a big fan of the movie, but assuming that's where you're going, if we had a venue for sports cars, maybe there would be less people racing on public roads. There are venues, and I think that's a really crappy excuse for people breaking the law. We have to drive an hour.
It's somebody else's fault because I don't have a track here. Well, go find one.
Somebody actually suggested last year, you the police, should go and build a track to give us a place to play. You know what? If you want a track and you need to go build one, go be an entrepreneur and invest your money.
Or just join one that's already there.
It might be a drive.
It costs money.
But it's also inconvenient. It's not like going to the end of your street.
Sorry, you want to build a track so you can drive, but you don't want to drive so that you can drive?
Touche. Yeah. That's actually a very good point. They want to go fast and they want to get there fast.
Well, don't get there fast. Wait till you get there.
To go fast.
Then go fast.
Yeah, and most people who think that they are great drivers are possibly not that great. Everyone seems to think they're amazing. Just ask them.
Yep.
Scott Marshall used to say it all the time.
Yep.
You're possibly not as skilled as you think. And I know, and you know some of these professional drivers as well, the pros are really pros. They talk about speed on the track as not who can go fastest, who can manage their tires properly. It's a totally different perspective. And the people who think they're car people haven't even gotten into the sport.
The idea of going fast that makes it look fast is totally wrong. Something that is actually going fast around a track, around a course, it actually looks slow and smooth.
I like this question. Josh says, what are your thoughts on flow of traffic? I have many thoughts on this. I think that people misapply or misuse the statement flow of traffic as an excuse to speed. Flow of traffic is intended for merging, that you must get up to the flow of traffic in order to merge for a safety concept. But it's not intended as an excuse for speeding. It's intended as a flow of traffic, matching flow of traffic that is lawful. And people use it all the time. Well, I'm going with the flow, so it's okay. No, you're just speeding if you're speeding.
Well, everybody's speeding. But it takes the first person to start it, and then everybody else seems to think it's okay.
Do you know what I do? I'm the first person to not speed, and then everybody behind me doesn't speed. And you know what? They constantly in the comments say, well, if I'm not speeding like everybody else, if I'm not going with the flow, well, then I'm going to get all this hate. I'm going to get all this anger. I think they're just really scared of their shadow, because I'm out on the road and I drive the speed limit, and people do pass me, but they do it safely. I haven't had people jamming on the horn, right up on my bumper. I just don't see that. And it's not because they see police, because I'm in my personal vehicle. It's not a marked police officer. I'm not wearing a uniform. Yeah, maybe they could get up to my window and see me if they looked inside, but that's not where they are. They're behind me. So they have no idea who I am, and they're just being polite and safely moving over and accelerating. And some of them are accelerating and I'm doing that part unsafely because they're speeding. But I've never had a negative interaction. So for all the people who are saying, oh, as soon as I go the speed limit, people honk at me and scare me, I think there's a lot of stuff going on that isn't accurate. So flow of traffic, not an excuse to speed. That's that. What do we have here? Is it legal or is it illegal to pass on a double solid line in Ontario, Canada? Beverly wants to know.
Is it just the double solid line? No. Just the line itself? No. It is not unlawful.
And we're the only province in Canada.
Illegal.
Yes, illegal.
Illegal. There are certain instances where it is unlawful to pass. Crest of grade within a certain distance of bridge, viaduct, tunnel, unclear view, railway crossing.
There's a sign saying no.
There's a sign. So there are times that it is unlawful to pass. The double solid line is kind of a clue that maybe there is a bridge, viaduct, crest of grade, corner coming up.
So the line itself,
you can't see clearly.
Yes. It's a good hint. It's a tip. It tells the average person what can and can't be done safely. It's good advice. And here's the deal. It may not be against the law to cross the line in some scenarios, or in just the line itself, it doesn't have authority. But when you cross that line, you're responsible for everything that happens next.
Yes.
And Fabio says, just because you drive fast in a straight line, it does not mean you're a great driver. And that is so true. Anyone can hammer the gas down. Mind you, we see a lot of people with supercars online.
That hammer the gas down.
Oh, my goodness. To watch money go poof is so amazingly heartbreaking.
It's usually not a straight line.
Well, not once they hit the gas. Yeah. It's amazing. These are incredible vehicles, and they take skill. In fact, I was talking to a race car driver, a friend of ours, who says they should actually make you take a course before they sell you that car. It's irresponsible to give someone these 1,000 horsepower machines and say, take it and go.
You know what? Some manufacturers actually do have courses. I know that Porsche is one of them. But when you buy it secondhand, you don't have to do it. So
yes, there's always a way around it. But let's see here. Oh, that's what it is. The comment. Yeah. Okay. Does Toronto PD enforce hate speech laws? Hate speech, hate crimes. We definitely have a team that works on that. It's a very active team lately.
Yep.
But I don't work in that role. I'm not familiar with what they do and what they act on and what they don't. But certainly when hate becomes a more than an event and turns into a criminal act, they make arrests.
Yep, absolutely. We lay charges.
What would you recommend? Sorry. Hey, what would you recommend, or what can you recommend? I can't read today. If someone got a cop car through auction and uses it as a daily driver. That's from the Budget Gamer. Well, I used to I had a retired police car as a daily driver. I had a winter beater that was a Caprice. I think it was a 93, the bubble,
wow.
The big bubble beast.
Yep. So police edition cars are built to a different standard. We have different suspension, different radiator. Cars run 24/7 sometimes, so the cooling system are beefed up. The drivetrain's beefed up. The alternator is beefed up because it runs an awful lot of lighting and equipment in there. So if you were to get a retired police car, it would be tougher than your regular civilian edition. Now, sometimes retired police cars are well used.
Yeah.
Like I said, running 24/7, is not great on an engine.
But less. My understanding was there was less sediment and less sitting around. So some things were better, but most things. When you rent a car, do you treat it like your own? Well, these are essentially rented cars. Where you have different drivers with different driving habits and different levels of commitment to keeping it in pristine condition. You drive it like you stole it, is what some people say. Well, sometimes that's what happens, and I don't know if I'd want to own one.
Well,
again.
our job too is a little bit different from everybody else, and that's why our cars are a little bit different, a little bit tougher, because they can go from idling from, for half an hour while we're typing a report to a high speed. I'm going to save somebody's life.
0 to 1,000
yep.
all the time,
So
and back down again.
just be aware of that. That's all.
Yeah, my car was great. It was $1,500. It was not a big investment. I used it for a couple of seasons, and I got rid of it, and I sold it for the $1,500 that I bought it for. It wouldn't die. It used a lot of gas though.
Yes.
Lot of gas. Play a YouTube video on my phone and setting it over the dashboard is legal? ?
Yes. So your display screen visible to driver is unlawful. The only thing you're able to view would be your GPS.
Yeah, if the screen is visible. If you had pressed play, which I don't agree with doing, if you're driving, first of all, I don't like burning data for no reason, because I'm that guy who says don't burn data. Use the podcast. In fact, you can download our podcast and listen to us for free without burning data. It's such a great opportunity. And I can press this button and put the sign on the screen. See our iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. So you sync it. Now, that is a way to listen to the audio only, so you're not breaking the law. But you're asking about YouTube. I get it. So the deal is that you absolutely can get a ticket. And the screen, if you put it in a pocket, if you put it in the glove box, then it's not visible to you and it's not a big deal.
Right.
But why would you use YouTube for that? I don't get it. Just saying. Canadian cops are awesome. We have a bunch of RCMP in Alberta, and they are great. Canadian cops are pretty cool. I've had really good experience with American cops too. I appreciate that Americans may not think so, because I was working in Carabana a number of years ago with the motor squad, and a bunch of people came up and said, "You guys are awesome. You're not scary at all." I'm like, I don't know. You're just people helping people. That's all we're here for. So yeah. Some places are dealing with different elements of crime and have a different level of standoffishness, but they're still great people.
Yep.
At least that's
They're
my
really doing
experience.
the job, and they have to do it the best they can in the manner which works best for them.
What is this? When will radar cameras be implemented on the Thompson Road and Derry Road, Milton? That is something I have no idea how to answer, because I don't know anything about what they're doing there.
So radar cameras, you're talking about speed enforcement, has to be done in a community safety zone. So that is a zone that is of higher risk, because maybe a school's there, or a park, or a playground, something like that, community center. They're only allowed to be in those zones. They have to be signed, and they're chosen by the municipality that has the road under their jurisdiction. So out there would be Region Appeal. If you want one there, let them know.
Yeah, and I think there will be a day, I really do, when all of the streets eventually have automatic enforcement. Europe uses it widely. It's an effective way of policing, and then the police get to focus on other things. It's, I think, just the way things are going. We'll eventually get there. And frankly, no one likes getting a ticket. Many people don't like giving tickets because they feel bad because they're taking away your hard-earned money. But the truth is, you're putting lives at risk. So if it's happening so often, maybe a computer just needs to be involved with it and make it happen. So maybe we'll have safer roads for it. Is it Nat Barama? Nat Barama says, this is a very cool way of reaching the public. We thank you. We think so. We think it's a great way to do it.
It actually does work, and it's reaching out far better than we ever have before. And it's up to you if you want to come join us or not. It's up to you if you take some of the information we're giving you back and put it to good use. So,
and we even have people who are from different communities that speak different languages. They're repurposing our content in Portuguese, in Spanish. Our videos have been redubbed in Chinese. There are videos and outreach that we are doing that is affecting communities all over the place, and it's all positive. It's helping people. This is not trying to convince you to break the law. It's trying to keep you safe. Some people don't like being told, but at the same time, that's not our problem. If you actually listen to us, you'll have a better day. It's true. Paul says Porsche, Ferrari. What?
missed that one.
Oh, I clicked it, and
Yep.
there was a reason I clicked it. I forgot what it is.
It had to do with if my car was manufactured
Catalytic
prior
converters.
to catalytic converters, do I need to put them on? So the answer is no. If it was manufactured before, I'm going to say probably 70s.
What was it? 74 for seatbelts. Like if your vehicle was manufactured without seatbelts, even though I wouldn't want to drive in it without a seatbelt, it's not required that you had one.
So same thing with emission controls, but the cars previous to catalytic converters had the old smog pumps, and nobody liked the smog pumps because it robbed the engine of horsepower and kind of made it run kind of crappy. So most people
1975.
get rid of those. If you get rid of your smog pump and you don't have a catalytic converter, then yes, you could be subject to charges.
We have to have cops that know what a smog pump is.
Yes, like me.
Let's see here. In Ontario, do you need to be 21 with a G before you can have a small amount of alcohol in your system? Actually, in Canada, you have to be 22. 22.
It's greater than 21.
It's over 21. The way it says you have to be over 21, which makes people think 21 and over, which is not what it says. It says over 21, which is in fact 22. And it's confusing. It's really crappy wording. I wish they would change it. However, that's where we are. It's 22.
Lawyers probably made it.
Well, because they want to have the joy of the business of defending you. It's creating the. I joke, but I don't joke. No, it's 22 and it's Canada wide. You can have zero alcohol in your system when you are under. Actually, I say it's Canada wide. Is it Canada wide? No. The standards for criminality are Canada wide. It may not be the same.
I wondered if you knew something I
No,
didn't know.
I made a boo boo. I don't know. I can't confirm if it's the same elsewhere because G specifically they call it all sorts of numbers and other things elsewhere. So this might be an Ontario only thing.
Well, I know it definitely is true in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about the other provinces, but most provinces are kind of equal to what we have.
Yeah, this is very interesting. And
this is the way you say something, and I go, I got to talk to him afterwards about that because I don't want to. Every once in a while, I'll call you out on.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm right, and sometimes very rarely. This one I caught myself because I reread it. I'm like, well, actually, anyway, yes. What a great way to end. I have to end on a higher note when I actually get something perfect. How can we fix the fast lane issues on the 400 series highways? We should slow everybody down to 100 kilometers an hour, only 110 in certain areas. What exactly is the issue with the fast lane? You mean people going slower in the fast lane?
Or too fast in the fast lane?
Well, yeah, there's problems in either direction. At the end of the day, if you're going the speed limit and you're not actively passing, pull to the right. In Europe, they would ticket you for even speeding if you were not the fastest vehicle. So in areas where there's no speed limit. But yeah, they're very strict on enforcing all of the rules. People think that we're toughies because we say don't speed. They're like, if you don't part the C's at the appropriate speed for emergency vehicles, you in big trouble.
Yep.
So I quite like that. I was watching a video on YouTube where someone was pulled over and then because they were going too fast in one area and they were escorted to the next town to pay their fine, and they were escorted at 130 kilometers an hour, but they were getting a ticket for having gone 120 and an 80. So the next area was faster. So they were really confused. It was an interesting story. Anyway, the issue is people doing 90 to 100 in the fast lane. That's the clarification.
Yep. Move. It's not the fast lane. It is the passing lane. Not the fast lane.
It's not about the speed. And no one's allowed to go faster than the posted speed limit. So why would anyone be upset if you were doing 100, which is the legal maximum on the road?
Right, but some people are allowed to exceed
like
the
police,
speed
fire,
limit.
ambulance.
So if you are in the passing lane, which is the far left lane, move out of it.
Yes, I don't disagree that if you're just going along, stay to the right. And I was actually featured in an article, and it says this. The viral TikTok cop talks about his feelings on the passing lane and slow lane. And I acknowledge the fact that it is safer to stay to the right and let the bozos who are speeding go by. I just think that the bozos are the ones we need to concentrate on.
Yep, I agree.
All right. What is the legal tint limit? I have factory, and the officer tried to ticket me for it. Is it factory or is it dealership installed? Because there's a big difference.
And even if it comes from the factory and the atmospheric conditions make it harder for us to see inside the vehicle, you could still get a ticket for that.
Yeah, we can't see, easily identify or be able to see into the, I want to say the cockpit, the actual driver's area, front seat from passenger and driver side. It's too dark. Now, there are standards that vehicles sold in Ontario and Canada would have to meet from the manufacturer. They meet those standards.
Yep.
But dealerships often tint them to look good and then say factory tint. It's not factory. They put it on to make it look cool, and then they sell it to you, and that's not lawful. At least not you driving on the road with it.
30% light blockage is what's legal to get it certified, but that may be too dark for us to see in. If you're in a tunnel, it's dark outside, it's nighttime, whatever, and that may be enough to get a ticket.
But lately, I am seeing blacked out windows. I mean, you cannot see in. It looks like a plastic, opaque plastic windshield, the entire car, and that's unsafe. That's something I would actually take your license plates for. It's an unsafe vehicle.
For sure.
I've lived all over North America. Driving from Toronto to Niagara is scariest driving behavior. I agree 100%.
Yeah, actually, so do I.
It's remarkable how bad our drivers are and how willing to break the law they are. And I think part of that is that a lot of the police services in the GTA, and right through, we're talking the horseshoe, they're understaffed and they have to prioritize their policing to the highest priority, things like assaults and what else other than assaults?
Crashes. And, dangerous events that are going on.
And traffic enforcement takes a backseat very often. And not all police services have a dedicated traffic unit. So we need more people, and we need more people focused on making sure the drivers do the right thing behind the wheel.
I agree with you. The QEW down to Niagara is a scary drive sometimes. I also think that coming into the GTA from the east on the 401, as soon as you hit Oshawa, people's attitudes change. People's driving changes. It gets scary.
Mm-hmm. And we have a tremendous number of serious injuries in Ontario. I don't know. I haven't compared it to other provinces, but we're losing a lot of lives because of stupid decisions on the road.
Yep.
So when people say we want faster speed limits and lay off, and if we were in a situation where no one was dying on our roads every year, I'd say you'd have an argument. But with the number of serious injuries and deaths on our roads, we don't get better things. You don't get to move up to the next level. Tweep says, why aren't officers just sitting in front of Union Station? People doing U-turns and cutting each other off. Sorry, it seems like passive aggressive. Or sorry if that seems passive aggressive. If we had the staff to put people permanently attached to a location, I think that could work to make things safer.
Absolutely.
The worst problem is we can't be everywhere all the time.
And we use crime statistics and collision statistics to put our officers where they need to be, where people are getting hurt and killed. So if that hasn't been identified as one of them, although there's people being ignorant and doing that, that may be why they're not there. If you have a limited resource, you got to put it where it makes the most difference.
Yeah. It's all about putting your best foot forward and making the biggest and most impactful change. And is the guy pulling out from a parking spot, making a U-turn and screwing up somebody else's day, or is that person putting their lives at risk? And they are, but to the same level as someone doing 50 over on the highway. Where do we prioritize? Last responder says, totally not enough police to do the length of time each call takes. Yeah, there's major backlogs. We have all sorts of things. The Phoenix Homestead says, tyrants.
Who? You?
I don't know. Maybe.
Could be me.
Tyrants? Maybe you're a supervisor, so maybe. Get back to work. But I've blocked them. Get back to work time.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see. We had a couple of jokes, and we can wrap up the show. It has been an absolute blast, as it always is. We quite enjoy doing this, but it is all for you. We won't be back tomorrow, at least I won't. And back on Thursday to do it all over again. So at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you don't already follow us, please do. And now for a dad joke brought to you by ASKaTrafficCop.TrafficCop.ca. It's been months since I bought the book, How to Scam People Online. It still hasn't arrived.
I like it.
That's pretty good.
I like it.
It had potential to go any which way. I have to reach over and... Okay. A Yogi Berra quote. I'm so nervous when I read these because I don't know what to expect. He had one where it says, people running naked in the field. I don't know. He had some weird Yogi Berra quote. I'm a lucky guy, and I'm happy to be with the Yankees, and I want to thank everyone for making this night necessary. Yeah, I'm not picking up what Yogi's putting down.
No.
Oh, El Nino's son. You have such a nice voice. You can read my radio news and traffic anytime. Well, thank you very much.
I
Apparently,
think they're talking about you.
it wasn't you?
No, I don't think it's me.
But I thank you very much. That's kind. A number of people said I should go into radio. I said, in retirement, that sounds like a great plan. Everyone, okay. And Josh, thank you very much. This entire episode, you have graciously told people what's going on and helped us out, just being kind in the chat. And I appreciate you. We appreciate you. And we talked about, did we talk about the legal tint? We did talk about tint.
We did.
Did we talk about that particular comment?
Yep.
Yes, we did.
We did.
Okay, very good. All right. With that, we'll play the traffic song. Not that magical created by AI song, but this song created by a police officer, written and performed right here. Yeah.
Have a good day, everyone.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
I love the people who actually come onto the show, like Patrick, and make statements that make it very easy for me to block them. They don't want to be here, so we'll just help them not find us again. Kevin says, why are there warning signs for red light and speed cameras? Wouldn't more people follow the law if most people didn't know or don't know where cameras are? I agree with you, but apparently we're not supposed to offend people by giving them tickets, so we give them all the warnings in the world and hope that they correct their behavior, and then, yeah. But I think that they should be hidden. Why not? Yippee Kaye says, you do this on TV? We do this on the radio. We join in every once in a while with Jerry Yeager on News Talk 10, on AM 640 occasionally. We have even been known to do it on TV, but we're not a regular TV show. We're an online show. Maybe we'll be a TV and radio show sometime soon, but right now, we do it right here. All right, that's the part two. Oh, silly people. Entrapment is against the law. Or is that a question? Entrapment is against the law? Entrapment is not what traffic enforcement is. You break the law by your free will. We catch you for it. That's not entrapment. Speed traps aren't entrapment. Making you speed and then giving you a ticket for it, that's against the law. That would be entrapment. If I tell you speed or you're going to get in trouble, and then I give you a ticket for doing what I tell you to do, that's different. All right. I'm out of here.